Sunderland, a coastal city in the northeast of England, known for its large Premier League football club, its award-winning universities which it has to offer, its beautiful coastline, and, of course, one of the biggest events in the region, the Sunderland International Airshow. Now, in its 25th year, we take a look and explore the Sunderland International Airshow. Sunderland International Airshow first began in 1988, along 25 years ago. It was planned only to be a one-off event, but when it attracted 250,000 spectators, organisers rethought about the one-off event and very ambitiously held the event again 1 year later, hoping that it would attract another large number of spectators. The event did not fail to attract that hoping large number of spectators, but attracted spectators from all over the world, making it Europe's largest free airshow. The airshow went on to become an annual event held each year in Sunderland. The airshow, from the first day it was hosted in Sunderland, turned out to be a hugely popular event which still continues to grow year after year. So what makes the event so attracting?
Well, it was really good, enjoyable for the kids.
And what was what really entertained you today here at the airshow?
I think it was just the joy on the kids' faces for the airplanes, the helicopters. For him anyway, the little one.
So did you enjoy it? Oh, he's gone shy on me. So what aircraft did you most enjoy today?
The Hurricane, the bomber. The bomber, aye, definitely. From World War II, the dam busters and that, you know what I mean? How much work and effort must have went into it to actually, in the 1940s or whatever, 50s, to come up with that. Good idea, you know.
So will you come back next year?
Oh, definitely will come every year, you know what I mean? Highlight of a year, look forward to it.
So where have you travelled from to come here?
Here to the day. So, well, no doubt we'll see us here next year again, you know what I mean?
Evidently, a huge amount of work goes into the Sunderland International Airshow each year. I met up with Airshow Director Sue Stanhope to find out how much work goes into the airshow each year. How much time and effort goes into preparing for the airshow?
Oh, loads and loads of time and effort, and we start pretty much when the airshow's finished. So this year's airshow, we'll start planning for next year's, thinking about different things we can do, asking people what they thought, and just trying to get information from a variety of different people who've been, people who follow us on things like Twitter or Facebook page. So yeah, it's a year of thinking about it, a year in the imaginations of people.
So tell us, what do you need to do to ensure that the airshow is a success?
We need to make sure it's safe, first of all. We need to make sure that people can get there safely, that when they're on the site they're safe, or when they're viewing from wherever they're viewing that they're safe. And we need to also make sure that there's something there to keep people's attention. So we've got, lots of different things up in the sky, things people won't have seen before at the airshow, and also that when they're there and there aren't things going on in the sky, there's lots of other stuff for them to do. And if I could organise the weather, I would too, but kind of outside of my remit, that.
As well as attracting crowds in Sunderland, the airshow also attracts many planes each year. Alternatively, it wouldn't be an airshow. The Spitfire, the Hurricane, the Typhoon are just some of the many planes that are displayed at the airshow. In 2009, the last flying Vulcan bomber, which was originally designed to carry nuclear weapons, made its first appearance at the Sunderland Airshow. Crowds arrived in the hundreds of thousands to see the aircraft display, leaving airshow organisers keen to reschedule the aircraft for future airshows in Sunderland. Sadly, it hasn't always been plain flying for Vulcan. In September 2008, Vulcan to the Sky Trust, who keep and maintain the Vulcan aircraft, announced that there were serious shortfalls in the aircraft's funds, suggesting that it looks as though the door may now be closing on the future of Vulcan in flight. Vulcan to the Sky Trust Chief Executive added, "I think that anyone wishing to see the Vulcan in flight should do so as soon as possible, and that if we don't achieve a significant change of circumstances soon, we won't be able to carry out our role in honouring the past, inspiring the future, and providing that one seen, never forgot sight of the Vulcan in flight." The Vulcan relies on public donations and fundraising events organised by Vulcan to the Sky club members and supporters in order to keep the aircraft flying. In December 2008, the Vulcan to the Sky Trust set up a pledge scheme to raise £1 million by early 2009 to pay debts and cover servicing and operational costs for the 2009 display season. On the 6th of March 2009, the appeal reached its target, but just a few years later, the Vulcan to the Sky Trust conducted a fresh campaign to raise further money as maintenance work on the aircraft had to be brought forward from its scheduled date of 2011. The Vulcan to the Sky Trust later created Vulcan's 50th birthday appeal, which saw an additional £800,000 raised by the end of March 2010, one of which from an anonymous benefactor who gave £400,000, which meant the needed engineering work could be carried out on the Vulcan aircraft. The Vulcan to the Sky Trust still relies on vital fundings from the public to be able to keep the Vulcan aircraft flying, as it still does not have a major sponsor which organisers hoped it would have. The Trust have set up a new pledge to raise a total of £400,000 by 2015, calling it Operation 2015. For more information on how to donate, visit www.vulcantothesky.org. As well as the Vulcan, another aircraft that has displayed at the Sunderland Airshow is the short Carnot T1. This year, Sunderland welcomed back the team. The short Carnot T1 aircraft is a two-seater turboprop basic trainer built by Shaw Brothers in Belfast, Northern Ireland. With its handling akin to a jet aircraft, it is fully aerobatic and an excellent workhorse for training fast jet pilots in all aspects of the military flying. This year, the crew is pilot Flight Lieutenant Andrew Fiveray and display manager Flight Lieutenant Dave Kirby.
I'm the Catalina display manager, so I bring the spare aircraft to an airshow, and then I will commentate on the display and I'll engage with the public. My day job when I'm back at RF Linton on News is a qualified flying instructor on the Takano.
So tell us a bit about the display team itself.
The display team is quite small. There's me, the manager, there's Andrew Fiveray, the pilot, and we have a couple of other guys who help us out through the season, but that's basically the team. So there's quite a lot of work pre-season and then during the season to make sure that we're prepared for each airshow.
Okay. So in terms of planning, what do you need to do to ensure that the display is a success?
We start in November, we start planning the next year's sequence. The display pilot and manager are selected. We then start working the sequence out, as I say. That then has to get approved, and then we start working down. So we start at 4,000 feet, so we're nice and safe, and then we bring those heights down until we end up doing aerobatics at 500 feet. Then throughout the season we just make sure that we keep on top of that. We do currency runs, and then we have to do all the administration of taking 2 aircraft to each airshow and each airfield around the country.
So what goes through your head before you're about to display and go in the aircraft?
It's just all about routine really. So we'll start off, we'll get a brief on the weather in the morning, we'll then go to a brief, or we'll do a telephone brief with the display organiser to make sure that our planned display slot is still on time, who's on before us, who's on after us. We'll then get to the aircraft nice and early, get the servicing done on the aircraft, start up nice and early, just in case. Quite a lot of air shows they want you to be ready 1 slot early, just in case the previous act isn't there, or if there's a problem. Then really the display itself, we've practiced it so many times that it just runs like clockwork, and then after that back to the airfield, land the airplane, turn it around for the next day, and then the hard work arguably starts, because we then got to get to wherever the public are and try and engage with the public as well.
Another stunning plane which has displayed at Sunderland's Airshow is the Catalina flying boat. The Catalina is a World War II flying boat which was used in the 1930s and 1940s. It was one of the most widely used multi-role aircrafts of World War II. It was used as anti-submarine warfare, patrol bombings, convoy escorts, search and rescue missions, especially air sea rescues, and it was also used as cargo transport. The Catalina was one of the most numerous aircraft of its kind, and the last active military Catalina was not retired from service until the 1980s.
I'm Max Randall. I come from Cambridge and I'm part of the Catalina Society. They help keep the Catalina going. We basically, what we do is, well, the Cat Pack especially, us lot, about 20 of us, what we do, we bring her inside the private hangar at Duxford in October. And then from October to about March, we strip down parts, replace parts we need, strip down the engines, take the propellers off, go and have those refurbished. And we kind of do the general maintenance and keep them going of the aircraft.
So what does it feel like to actually fly and be a part of the Catalina team?
It's a great privilege and honour really to keep something going like the Catalina, because at the moment I believe she's the only flying one in Europe at the moment. We have a couple others, the Greenpeace one, which has been repaired and sent to the USA, and I believe there's one in Holland as well. So ours is the only flying one, and it's very good to keep her going. We actually had a veteran, a man called Lance, who used to fly in World War II. He used to be a navigator, so they've taken him up in the flight today.
So what does it feel to actually fly, Mr. Robson, Lance Robson?
I've sadly not had the privilege yet because I'm just ground crew. This is actually my first trip. But from what I hear from the guys, it's amazing. It's a completely different aircraft to something these days. You know, it's kind of man and machine. You really have to feel for it.
So obviously the aircraft is quite old. Does it ever worry you to think that it could occur a fault or a problem during flight?
Yeah, because these aircraft were built over 60 years ago, and they weren't really they were designed to last like 6 months, to last the same length as the pilot. So yeah, you always got to kind of keep an eye out in case something goes wrong, because it's such an old machine and old technology.
So the aircraft has displayed at Sunderland Airshow in the past. What is it like to have the aircraft a part of this weekend once again?
Great honour really. It's great to show the Catalina off, because we us and the other engineers work really hard over the winter basically to get out here, get her outside and show it to the public, and again during the summer, and hopefully will support us.
So the aircraft is designed to land on water. Tell us why we don't see the aircraft land in the North Sea at the airshow.
Mainly because there can be debris in the water, and if a bit of debris hits the front of the aircraft, it can flip it over. And also because of it's been seawater, because it's salty, it can do a lot of corrosion quickly. So we only do lake landings in Austria, Germany and France, I believe.
She may have retired from military service, but nearly 80 years on after her first flight, the Catalina still continues to fly as a water bomber. She provides a vital tool in aerial firefighting operations all over the world. The Catalina is definitely an historical aircraft, known right around the world. Now, a more modern plane which has displayed at the Sunderland Airshow is the Blades aerobatic team. They have been described as the world's only aerobatic airline and are the only full-time civilian aerobatic team in the whole of the United Kingdom. The team, which fly 3 extra 300 LP propeller aircrafts and an extra 330 SC propeller aircraft, have over 30,000 hours of flying between them. They are amongst the most experienced display pilots in the UK, add to the fact that they are all former RAF fastjet pilots and are former Red Arrows. So it is little wonder that their air display is renowned worldwide and very much in demand.
The Blades have been going now for 8 years, so we're all ex-Red Arrow pilots. The founders of the company decided that there was a niche where people who always asking about the Red Arrows, always wanting to fly but couldn't, we decided to set up a company so that we could actually fly passengers on the Blades and perform cutting-edge aerobatics in an amazing aeroplane. So that's pretty much the basis. We're an aerobatic airline, the only one in the world.
So the Sunderland Airshow is celebrating 25 years this year. How does it feel to be part of what can be described as a special 25th Airshow schedule?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. We love Sunderland. We've all displayed here many times before. It's the one place in the display season where you can see hundreds and thousands of people. I mean, it's 1 million over the 2 days, I believe, and I don't doubt that, because it's just an amazing sight to see. We're one of the few teams that can arrive over the crowd at the beginning of the show, and as you catch sight of the crowd going a mile one way and a mile the other, it's just amazing. To be back as the 25th, it's really quite special. We weren't here last year, and we're really, really pleased to be here.
So in terms of planning, what does the team need to do to ensure that the display is a success?
Well, you need to work to the strengths of the aircraft and the pilot, really. All we're doing really is demonstrating the aircraft to the best of its ability. But we use our experience from the Red Arrows and other bits and pieces we've done to make sure to try and make it as exciting for the crowd as possible whilst being as safe for us as possible. It's all about smoke and mirrors really. Some of it looks close, but we're hopefully not as close as it looks.
So the Sunderland Airshow is a coastal airshow. Does that make the Blades display different to other airshows which could be held inland?
It is very different. It's nice to have a distinct line that you're displaying to, but you can't miss the crowds here. It's special really for the people and the sites combined. It's an amazing place to be.
These are just some of the fantastic planes which have performed at Sunderland's Airshow since it launched back in 1988. For Sunderland, it's not only just about the planes. The Sunderland International Airshow not only brings entertainment for spectators, but also brings with it a huge financial impact on Sunderland's economy, bringing in a high amount of money each year.
It's a huge impact financially and sort of morale, even if you go down to the core level. Financially, spoke to a number of the hotels, they're already filling up very, very nicely. It brings a huge amount of money in because people who come to Sunderland will then go for a drink or they'll go to a restaurant, obviously the hotel accommodation, and most people who come to Sunderland specifically for the airshow will stay for the full weekend. I want people to have come to Sunderland to see exactly how beautiful that seafront is, and how friendly the local people are, and to just have had a really, really good experience of Sunderland and to want to come back next time.
Overall, it's definitely clear to say that Sunderland's International Airshow, which is held during the last weekend of July, is widely loved by millions of people all around the world. Not only loved for its coastal access, but loved for what it has to offer year after year.